Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care.
This is Braves Vision.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Truist. We come to you from sunny Miami, Florida. It's game 2 of 4 between the Braves and the Marlins. And a few Braves fans have already checked out of work, ready for some afternoon baseball, a little Tuesday treat. Welcome inside the broadcast booth. I'm Wiley Ballard. CJ Nikolski will be along in just a moment. Now, it has been a busy past 24 hours for the Braves, so let's get you caught up on all the moves. First, some sour news. Drake Baldwin placed on the 15-day IL with an oblique strain. Chadwick Trump has been recalled. Then a couple of changes to the pitching staff. J.R. Ritchie, option to Gwinnett. Aaron Bummer has been released. In comes Dylan Dodd, and Victor Medeiros prepared to make his Braves debut. But some positive news. Ronald Acuna Jr. makes his first start in a couple of weeks. And CJ, he has been the recipe for the Braves these last few years when it comes to getting wins. Thrilled to have him in the leadoff spot again this afternoon.
Very exciting to get Ronald back for a lot of different reasons. First of all, the impact that he has had on this team over the years. That part is undeniable. Now the pressure that he will put on an opposing pitcher, getting on base. We know he can run. There's a lot of factors that go into what Ronald Acuna Jr. does for this lineup. And then, of course, the winning percentage. Go back to 2023 at nearly 600 when Ronald is in there. When he scores, we're up over 700 with that winning percentage. And then you can see who he's been, right? Since 2023, we know it. One of the best players in the game.
Now, for Ronald Acuna Jr., we know he crushes the Marlins, so the superstar is back. How about the Swiss Army knife on the mound? Martin Perez making his 6th start of the season. Nick Green will have more on how much he has meant early on in 2026.
We are professional grade.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Rooms to Go. Don't miss the Memorial Day sale going on now. By Xfinity, reliable Wi-Fi at one price. Xfinity, imagine that. And by Chevrolet, proud partner of the Atlanta Braves.
Well, this is game 2 of 4 against the Miami Marlins down in South Beach. Braves took the loss 12-0 last night. Today it'll be Martin Perez on the mound for the 10th time this year, his 6th start of the season. Looking to turn things around for the Braves, and we know it's a long season for any Major League Baseball team. You're going to have to deal with injuries. You have to deal with underperformance at times. You need guys to step up in different ways. You have to have depth. You have to have guys that are buying in, that want to win and compete every time they go out. Martin Perez is all of that. I was inside the clubhouse earlier today to get the thoughts on Martin Perez and what he's meant to this team.
Martin's a pro, man. He's been a model citizen, I guess you can say. We've yanked him back and forth between the rotation, the bullpen. He covers us in the bullpen when we need coverage, and we plug him back in the rotation, and he gives us 5 or 6 good innings. And he's performed through it all.
He started. He's been a long guy, come in late. I mean, he's kind of done it all, and that adds a lot of value to a club, and to be able to kind of bounce around and do whatever has been asked of you.
Man, he's good, man. He knows how to win. There's no coincidence that he goes out there and grinds. He always makes fun of himself. Like he said, I throw 90, but I'll paint the corners and everything. But he's a guy that he's a competitor, and he won it in 23, and it was against us. It was not fun. It was not fun. And then just having him, it's a great teammate. He always uplifts you. You mess it up for him in defense, he'll give you, uplift you, and you do something good, he'll still uplift you. He's one of the guys that knows how to win.
This is our Georgia Aquarium below the surface. 7 appearances over the last 7, 4 starts for Martin Perez. The ERA sits under 1.7. Opponents barely touching the changeup on the season. The career versus the Marlins has been pretty good for Martin Perez. The Braves look to even the series up at 1. This will be his 6th start of the season. Braves looking to turn things around down here in Miami. Riley, And CJ will have the call coming up next. First pitch, Braves Marlins.
Atlanta Braves on Braves Vision. Ronald Acuna Jr. hits it high, deep, and gone. Acuna with a shoestring grab, reaching up, and Ronald has it. Ronald takes off. He's got the bag. A rocket from Ronnie and right. Acuna tried this one, and this game is tied. The MVP is back. Ronald Acuna Jr. after missing the last 13 games with a hamstring strain. He is leading off this afternoon for the Braves. A look at the Braves starting lineup brought to you by Racetrack. So great to have Ronald back at the top. Mauricio Dubon in the 2-hole for the first time this year. And on the mound for the Miami Marlins, it is the 28-year-old lefty Braxton Garrett making just his second start of the season, CJ, and that first one was bumpy.
Yeah, it did not go particularly well. You can see the 5 runs that he allowed in an inning and a third, 4 hits, which was somewhat of a surprise because he was dominating in the minor leagues in the lack of hits that he was allowing at the time. And like a lot of these other Marlins pitchers, you're going to see a lot of the secondary pitches, the slider cutter, changeup to go along with 2 types of fastballs.
So Garrett on the mound, and CJ, how about your Ford Keys here for game 2?
Buckle up, Wiley. I hope you can get the reference here. Back on the scene. Who's back on the scene? Ronald Acuna Jr. is back on the scene, and we talked about his impact in the open. And we got to be crispy and clean today. And the reason we need to be, yesterday was a little bit sloppy. There was a pickoff. Some of the defense wasn't where we wanted it to be. A couple of walks in there as well. So we got to be back on the scene, crispy and clean. And if you're a 90s hip-hop fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm glad you don't. I'm glad I got you. Well, listen, you're not really of age. This is like a 40 and over reference.
The first pitch from Braxton Garrett. Ronald Acuna Jr. is high, and off we go. All right, well, educate me.
So the name of the hip-hop band is Black Sheep. Kind of comes out of the Tribe Called Quest era. And the name of the song is The Choice Is Yours. We're not allowed to sing here. It will cost us some money, but for those that know it, they know it, and it hits hard. It slaps, as the kids say. Jenna knows it. I can hear her laughing back there. She knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I learned something new today. Okay, 3-0 on Ronald Acuna Jr. Speaking of hitting hard, Ronald went down with that hamstring strain on May 2nd against the Rockies. Hit the IL the next day. Was activated yesterday. And a 3-0 swing.
Oh.
Well, he's not shy.
No, not a bad idea, right? We talk about this a lot. The game has changed. 3-0. You see a pitch you like, especially if it's going to be a fastball, go after it. Might be the best pitch you get in the at-bat.
Yeah, Ronald trying to sell a little low, but full count. 35th game of the season for Ronald, and as Braves fans are well aware, more home runs against the Marlins than any other team. And a challenge coming here from Joe Mack on ball 4.
Catcher Collins, all ball.
So Joe Mack has not been great so far here early on when it comes to his challenges. 9 for 19, 47%.
Hey!
That was closer than I thought, though. Wow.
Oh. Ooh. All right, so Ronald aboard at first. And now Mauricio Dubon. Braves in their blue uniforms for just the second time this year. You got to go all the way back to April 5th in Arizona. After getting shut out last night, trying to change the mojo a little bit perhaps.
Yeah, and I wonder, is it still the starting pitcher? Does he kind of get to choose? Is it a group effort? What do we know about picking the uniforms, if anything?
I know last year starting pitcher had the rights to that. I don't have any reason to believe that has changed. Opportunity for foul balls today, CJ, with this 4 o'clock start.
Yeah, so a little bit empty today, and that was kind of the anticipation. And there's a lot of talk about this early start. I will say that it's a part of it that I like for us, and doesn't completely crush today. Have a chance to get a decent dinner if you want. But the Marlins decided this before the season started. And the idea was an experiment, which is what this is. This ballpark is kind of difficult to get to around traffic time, and so having a 4-10 start. They wondered, especially with high school now being out in the area, would there be maybe a few more opportunities for others to come to the game?
And Mauricio Dubon cues one through the right side. Braves have the first 2 aboard. Take a look at the Marlins defense, brought to you by Car Shield. A bunch of changes. Heriberto Hernandez in left, Esteure Ruiz in center, and then shuffling up the corners of the infield as well with Leo Jimenez and Christopher Morel. So the Marlins have put together a right-handed heavy lineup to face Martin Perez. We'll talk more about that in the bottom of the first, but before, Matt Olson a chance to give the Braves an early lead.
And very interesting to see here as we were getting ready for today and looking at Matt Olson's numbers against Garrett, who hits lefties well, and he has, but 0 for 10 in his career. So that ends today.
The stuff for Braxton Garrett's not really going to jump off the page. He had a breakout year in 2023 where he pitched to about a 3.5 ERA. And speaking with the Marlins folks, he is a pitcher changing speeds in, out, up, down.
And you see it there, right? What we talked about yesterday with Max Meyer, same thing you're going to see with Garrett. It is 2-0, left on left, and he goes to a cutter. And it's a big cutter. That one has a little bit more of slider action as you take a look at kind of what has happened for him, especially post-injury. He had a revision surgery there in 25 on the UCL.
And with the walk to Olson, he has loaded the bases with nobody out here in the top of the first. And now it's Ozzy's going to bat from the right side, CJ. This is pretty much worst case scenario for Garrett. It is worth noting, in his start against the Twins last week, he loaded the bases with nobody out and then struck out the next 3 hitters to get out of it.
In the first inning?
In the first.
Well, I guess it had to be the first because he only went an inning and a third.
Correct.
Well, there's no way he's doing that twice, Wiley, especially against Ozzy, who's been crushing lefties. And how about this so far this year? Less than a 5% strikeout rate for Ozzy against left-handed pitchers. That's insane.
He jumps on the first pitch, lifts it high in the air to right. Stowers retreats, makes the catch. Acuna coming home. He will score, and the Braves are on the board first in Miami.
That's a good at-bat from Ozzy Albies in this situation, right? You want the first one across the board, look for a pitch you can handle to get into the outfield and get it in the air. And these guys are already at each other and having a good time in the dugout.
Ronald was never away from the team, so if anything, that back and forth got turned up when he was on the injured list. Austin Riley takes high.
So we joked about it and saying, well, maybe Ozzy was the one that pushed Walt and the Atlanta Braves to get Ronald activated so he'd get off his case. But he's DHing today, so he's going to be down at the end of the dugout and probably doing a lot of the same to Ozzy as he has been during his time on the IL.
Mauricio Dubon tagging and moving to third on that last play, so Austin Riley a chance to put one in play. Miami with the infield drawn in here. Austin, of course, had a great day on Sunday, double and a homer. 0 for 4 last night. The Braves have been really good after shutouts so far this year. I mean, I'd say that it's only happened twice. Last night was the third time, but they have responded with wins after the first 2 this year.
Well, they've not been streaky in the bad sense, right, as far as any versions of a losing streak. What has it been, 3, I think, on the high end? Does that sound right to you? More than that? I guess I shouldn't just give you pop quizzes, Wiley. It's probably not fair. I can find that out for you.
That sounds right. Riley fights off the sinker.
I was wrong. 2.
2.
2 has been the... Oh, there it is. 3. I'm sorry. Here we go. Early in the season. 4th, 5th, and 6th. A couple of games against Arizona, then the first one against the Angels.
And what happened after that, CJ? I believe Walt Weiss made a tackle in the open field, and the Braves took off.
And everything changed in a big way.
Time called here. Already 20 pitches in the first inning here for Garrett. And he beats Riley that time with the slider. Let's take a look at our Hyundai inside the numbers. This is the Braves this year following a loss, 12-3. That will play.
Yeah, pretty impressive to see what they have done now 15 times, and today being the 16th, that they have kind of had to bounce back from an L, and it has not been an issue both on the pitching side and what we have seen offensively.
So Michael Harris looking for a 2-out RBI. But going back to Braxton Garrett, CJ, prior to Thursday, it had been 23 months since he last threw in the big leagues. Had some elbow discomfort that shut down his season about halfway through 2024, and then missed all of last year while recovering from elbow surgery.
This guy has been in the Marlins organization since he was drafted. It's his 11th different season from the time he was drafted now throughout his time both in the big leagues and the minor leagues. You don't see that much these days. That is a long run. And he's still under control for a few more years.
And he's fallen behind Michael Harris. You know, he mentioned after that start against Minnesota, not only did he give up 5 runs in an inning and a third, but he threw more balls than strikes and walked 5. Felt like there was something going on in his delivery. Just didn't have a great feel for a lot of his pitches. But he had a lot of success in AAA before being called up last week.
He is absolutely dealing. He had back-to-back games in April where one he went 6 innings, another one he went 8. He did not allow a single hit in either one of those games.
And Michael Harris, hard hopper through the right side for a base hit. Dubon scores. He's headed to third. And Michael Harris, his first hit of the series, an RBI single. Braves up 2-0. That thing was scorched, 111.
It was, and it was a good thing to see here. Michael has had some success against Garrett. He came in 2 for 5 with a homer, and this is big. Listen, your base is loaded, nobody out. You expect to score at least 1, but the reality is you want more. And Michael makes that happen here with his hard base hit into right center field.
And now Jose Azocar, 7th Brave to hit here in the first. Zokar looking for career hit number 100 here. 5 for his last 11.
You could see the frustration for Zokar. He saw the spin out of the hand, expecting that to be a little bit closer to the zone. Tried to stop his swing, but could not.
And Braxton Garrett preparing pitch number 30. One-two. There goes Harris, and he will steal second. That pitch in the dirt. Mentioned that the Marlins are great at stealing bases, not so great at slowing down the running game, CJ.
No, and that was a tremendous jump from Michael. And of course, you pick the right time when you get a cutter that's in the dirt, makes it even easier.
And Harris, one hopper out to short. Lopez has it. And in time to get Zokar. But the Braves strike first. A couple of runs. Martin Perez coming out when we come back. Tuesday afternoon in Miami. That means BYOB. Bring your own boot. How about those Braves fans? Getting the weekend started early, turning up on a Tuesday.
That's right. Listen, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and it's almost 5 o'clock here because this game started at 4:10. But absolutely, I mean, there was some intensity to getting that beer poured and getting that first sip, and we appreciate all the Braves fans that are here in Miami.
Take a look at the Marlins lineup. A whole bunch of righties. Only 2 left-handed hitters. They're in the bottom half. Xavier Edwards shows bunt as Martin Perez. His first pitch misses high. And for Martin Perez, CJ, this will be his 6th start of the season and first in 13 days.
And not really a concern when you stack him with a bunch of righties. We talk about it often.
Edwards cracks this one deep to left, and it is gone above the bullpen. And so Xavier Edwards, for the second night in a row, drives one deep to left, and it's 2-1.
As good as a hitter as this guy is, you don't really think about the power, but you mentioned it now. Back-to-back nights with a homer, 6 on the season for Edwards. Martin Perez went with the cutter. Let's take a look at the location. Trying to go backdoor and misses inner third, and that's the danger of the pitch. Now Martin, we know, has excellent command, but that cutter coming across like that to a right-handed hitter, that one ran right into the barrel.
Otto Lopez, Major League Baseball's hits leader. So that's now 6 homers on the year for Xavier Edwards. He had just 4 total in the last 3 seasons combined.
Yeah, kind of surprising to see, certainly, but he's having a great season. We know what a tough out he can be. He's a great contact hitter, more walks than strikeouts. But usually those guys are not hitting the long ball.
And a high chopper deep in the hole. Kim not in time. Lopez beats it out, and that's how you lead Major League Baseball in hits, CJ.
Yeah, and for Ha-Seong Kim, unfortunately, felt like he had to play this back. Not enough time to come attack it. But when you have a guy like Lopez and the way that he runs, and he tried to get rid of that quickly, you probably have to take a little bit more of the aggressive approach on the ground balls.
That is now 64 hits for Lopez. This is Miami's 49th game of the season. So Martin Perez still looking for the first out, and he'll face Heriberto Hernandez. Did not see him last night, CJ, and now he's batting third.
Yeah, and that's how things are here in Miami because they don't run that deep, right? They don't have too many staples in their lineup in the middle. Certainly with Edwards and Lopez, they're going to be irregulars, but you get a lefty like Martin Perez, and they mix things up considerably. And he just got recalled recently, didn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
Back on May 7th, so about a week and a half.
Yeah, so you don't see it too often where you're going to have a guy hitting third who just got recalled within the last 10 days.
And Perez had 1 and 2. You look at those numbers, you ask, why is he hitting third? Well, you look at Hernandez last season, statistically, he was Miami's best right-handed hitter. He had double-digit home runs, double-digit doubles. It was, again, limited playing time. But they didn't have a lot of righties they could rely on offensively and try and find some of that same magic this year. But so far, unsuccessful. Martin Perez punches him out on the changeup. And, CJ, that's been Perez's best pitch this year.
Money pitch for Martin Perez. He's got one of the best swing and miss changeups in the game so far this season, one of the best of his career, and he's had a very lengthy career. You should take a look at this changeup and the location, the speed differential at 82, and it is that arm speed that sells it all.
And Christopher Morel takes a first pitch strike. Foul back our way.
It's been interesting to watch Lopez so far. 7 for 10 stolen base attempts. Martin is not allowed a stolen base this year. And we have noted with Sandy early on here that he has looked really good throwing.
It is an all Venezuelan battery. today for the Braves. Martin Perez, Sandy Leon. They have worked together this year, a couple of relief appearances, but it's the first time that Sandy will work with Perez for a start. Ooh, Morel just got a piece. And not only is it an all Venezuelan battery, CJ, we've also got a Venezuelan umpire behind the plate, Jonathan Parra, in his 3rd season calling games in the big league level.
It's kind of been an up and down guy. This will be his 4th game of the year, 31st of his entire career. I thought that Sandy and Martin might have had time together at other places because they've played on similar teams, but the answer is no, just the 2 innings.
1-2 to Morel. Wave and a miss. Another changeup sets down Christopher Morel. Back-to-back strikeouts for Martin Perez. And let's take a look at the Braves defense, brought to you by CarShield. Jose Azocar in right field. And on the infield, only change, Sandy Leon behind the plate. And if you didn't see it, Drake Baldwin put on the injured list earlier today with a strained oblique. He is getting an MRI in Atlanta. We'll have a better feel for the severity of that strain after we get the results.
Yeah, keep your fingers crossed that it's not going to be significant. We're looking for the very best news that we can possibly get once those MRI results come in. That means Chadwick Tromp now has come up from the minor leagues. So that is your catching core with Sandy Leon and Chadwick Tromp.
0-1 to Esteury Ruiz. And Walt Weiss did not mince words before the game, CJ. He said, arguably, we lost our best hitter.
Yeah.
And it's nothing you're excited about, but there is a silver lining getting Ronald Acuna back. And, again, everyone would prefer to have Drake in the lineup today. But because Drake is not available, that gives Ronald a chance to DH. And Walt saying that he'll likely start in right field tomorrow. If Drake doesn't get hurt, Ronald's going to play right field today and be off tomorrow. So maybe get a few more at-bats for Ronald. But, again, on the whole, not good news.
It's not. At the same time, thinking about how deep this lineup runs, you mentioned it. You get Ronald back. Matt Olson's having a great year. Ozzie, Michael Harris. There's just a lot of good hitters here. And the Braves are one of the few teams that could sustain something like that. You talk about losing your best hitter, one of your best hitters. That's going to be pretty difficult for most teams. But this offense has the ability to make up for it.
And it's not like you've raced out to the best record in Major League Baseball at completely full health. You've been dealing with this since it feels like spring training, even the offseason. Good changeup.
It seems like after that cutter where he missed location, he's thrown it a couple of more times, but he has gone a little bit more now changeup heavy to these right-handed hitters. That is the bread and butter for Martin Perez.
Ooh, and a challenge coming here from Sandy Leon.
Get their challenge to call ball.
That was aggressive.
Ball is confirmed. The pitch is a ball. The Braves has one challenge.
So that puts Ruiz at first, Lopez up to second. Braves got 2 runs in the top of the first after loading the bases with nobody out, and then Miami got the leadoff homer from Xavier Edwards, and now threatening with 2 outs. There's Alfonso Marquez, who had to leave yesterday's game after taking a foul ball off the bottom of his mask. Looked like he was in some pain around the jaw area.
Good to see him back out there, right? You always get concerned when things like that happen to these umpires. He missed the rest of the game, but back out at third now here today.
And Kyle Stowers with a rope down the right field line. That is fair, and it is trouble. Here comes Lopez. Ruiz can fly. He'll get the wave. It's going to be a 2-run double for Kyle Stowers. And the Marlins take the lead here in the bottom of the first.
Well, jumping on a first pitch, this is a 2-seamer, not a bad one. It's usually where you want it, in kind of belt high, right on the corner there for Martin, but Stowers ready for it. He's able to open that front hip and lace this thing down the right field line.
And Kyle Stowers who has not gotten off to a great start in his first month of the season. It was delayed after he suffered a hamstring strain, missed the first 20 or so games for Miami, but he's coming off an all-star campaign where he had a monster year. And Connor Norby fouls this pitch off, but C.J. Stowers, you might remember, all-star back in Atlanta. He was the first National League hitter in the swing-off in the all-star game before Kyle Schwarber won it for the National League.
I didn't remember that, Wiley, but that is a good reminder, and this guy has been a good player, certainly in the past.
And Norby lifts one sky high. Harris drifting in. And Michaels got it. But the Marlins answer with 3, and they take
set up. They did. Set up in the right field seat.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Truist. And this afternoon in Miami, it is Atlanta Braves baseball happy hour edition. 4 o'clock start here at Lone Depot Park. And CJ, you were talking about it, as it looks like Joe Mack has got either an equipment issue, that looks like a pitch-com issue. But we were talking about, I think the idea behind this earlier start for the Marlins was that fans could pick up some kids from school and head straight to the ballpark, get home at a decent hour, or perhaps, leave work a little early and kind of think of this as a happy hour.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. They want to try some different things here. They have issues with attendance, and so let's see what happens on a Tuesday at 4 o'clock once school is out. I don't know if all of school is out, but someone mentioned high school being out.
Ooh, Sandy Leon, just a eyelash early. Speaking of happy hour, though, I was having a conversation with Sandy Leon, asking him how he's been able to stay in such good playing shape. And now as he reaches his late 30s.
And it has something to do with happy hour?
He has not had a sip of alcohol since 2016.
Bragger.
Which included the 2018 World Series. He said, didn't drink anything. I sprayed it everywhere, but
good for him.
He felt like that's been a key for him. And then the other part, especially over the past 12 months, he hasn't stopped playing.
Yeah.
He went straight to winter ball after last season ended. So if you're constantly playing, you can be in playing shape all the time, although he's caught looking there.
Yeah, and I think Sandy was wondering about challenging, but with the Braves down to 1, probably not a good idea here. And I think this one actually did catch just a little bit of the strike zone. Backdoor slider there to Sandy Leon.
And now Hassan Kim. Kim returned a week ago, nearly had that walk-off hit Saturday night against the Red Sox off of Aroldis Chapman. He chops one to third. Jimenez. And there's 2. Now Acuna. And for Braxton Garrett, after a 31-pitch first inning, took him just 6 to get the first 2 outs here in the second. That pitch misses high on Ronald back at Lone Depot Park. Had some fond memories, of course. Winning the World Baseball Classic here just a couple of months ago. And he's been working on a win, brought to you by Home Depot. Those are his numbers here at Lone Depot Park.
Something about this ballpark, I think, for a lot of Braves that we have seen, but for Ronald Acuna Jr. in particular, that's a pretty nice number. 353. Highest in MLB history with at least 200 plate appearances. We are working on a win right now.
And Ronald pops this one back up behind the plate. Will Mack have room? Yes, he will. It's a 1-2-3 second inning for Braxton Garrett.
Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
Time now for our Toyota trend and taking a look at the great changeup of Martin Perez. How about an .091 batting average against that changeup? Had his third best in Major League Baseball. Gave me at least 150 pitches to qualify on this list for Martin, and a couple of strikeouts in the first inning. Both of those came on changeups. He got 3 swings and misses on that changeup in the first inning, so maybe those numbers will continue to go down. That'll be the trend, Wiley, and we'd like to have that trend from Martin.
You mentioned it when he first came out in the first, not concerned about having 13 days between starts. He made a couple relief appearances. As Jimenez pops this one into shallow center. Harris coming in. But what was it that gave you that confidence?
In that he could do this?
Yeah.
Well, so Martin has completely embraced the role. He wants to be here in the worst way. He wants to contribute, right? There is a mental component to what happens when you're a back-and-forth guy. It's not an easy thing to do. You have got to be completely on board. And you hear Walt and everybody else talk about Martin Perez and the way that they do. And what a great example he has been for guys to just do kind of what you're asked of. Now, he's had a lengthy career. He's had some great success. He's just thinking about winning, right? He got that ring with Texas in 2023. He wants another one, and he wants to be a big-time contributor. So whatever it takes, Martin Perez is willing to do it. So I think that's one of the bigger hurdles. It's just completely getting on board because it's not easy. You're trying to stay sharp. You still have to compete in the bullpen role and also trying to potentially prepare for whenever that next start's going to come. I think the Braves have done an excellent job communicating that the best they possibly can so that he can do what he wants to do accordingly, whether it's workouts, bullpens, etc.
Ball and 2 strikes here on Joe Mack. And Martin was joking about how he hasn't thrown as many bullpens this year, trying to save some bullets. Kind of like Bartolo Colon did back in 2018 when he and Perez were teammates. Bartolo hadn't thrown many bullpens that year. Martin asked him when's the last one he threw. He said about 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's the way to do it, I think, as you get a little bit older. Now we saw Chris Sale get his spring started a little bit earlier.
Another changeup. This one left on left.
Just got to find out what works for you ultimately, and I think for Martin, he has found something where actually less is more. It's hard to do sometimes because you're worried about, are my mechanics going to stay where they need to? Am I going to feel good about my pitches if I'm throwing less? There's a part of that you have to really buy into, and it certainly has worked for Martin.
It's top of the order, and Xavier Edwards, who's had himself quite a series just in the first game plus. He's homered twice, including a leadoff shot today. And homered yesterday. And he loves taking time out after that first pitch.
It seems to be a trend, too. I think I've seen that from a good amount of hitters that like to do that. See, the first one, especially when Martin's having an inning like this and he's kind of locked in, you try to disrupt momentum.
Well, that was dotted 0-2. He froze him. Xavier Edwards staring at it, befuddled, and Martin Perez bounces back. A 1-2-3. The third inning is brought to you by Audi. Experience the all-new Audi Q3 at your local Atlanta area Audi dealer. Look at Miami. Welcome back to Lone Depot Park here in the neighborhood of Riverside. Devon fouls that back.
This ballpark truly is right in the middle of a neighborhood. We talk about it in Wrigley, in Chicago, same thing with Fenway Park in Boston. It sounds like a nice idea, but it does make it a little bit of a challenge, I think, for people to get in and out of this ballpark. I do hear locals talk about the location and how it's kind of not ideal. But there's that draw. I get it, like the idea of having a ballpark in a neighborhood. But those ballparks are older. They're a little bit smaller. Like this is a monstrosity with the big roof.
Yeah, 15th year of Lone Depot Park, and And there you see the skyscrapers off to the right, and then a little more residential where we're tucked away. And that was a big miss from Braxton Garrett. But so far, already having more success than he did his last time out. Lasted just an inning and a third up at Minnesota, gave up 5 runs. That was his first major league outing in nearly 2 years. And Mauricio Dubon drives one deep to left, and it's over the head of Hernandez. Dubon racing to second, and it's a leadoff double for Doobie.
A Doobie double, if you will, maybe here for Mauricio Dubon. 91-mile-an-hour sinker. Did not have a lot of run to it. If anything, it looked like it might have cut in. They were trying to go front door, and instead, just right in the middle of the plate, and Mauricio Dubon smokes that thing. 106 miles an hour off the wall.
That was the 11th Doobie double of the season.
He's saying Doobie smoked that thing was unintentional.
Whatever you say, CJ. Well, Matt Olson, he walked in his first at bat against Garrett, and you mentioned it. He had some trouble. 0 for 10 lifetime.
So the Braves, when they play out on the West Coast, Braves after dark, right, late games, we feel like maybe we can push the limits. We can test them a little bit. Can we do that for a 4 o'clock Eastern time game?
Well, CJ, this is Braves after school.
That's right.
So we got to be a little
That's a great
more
point.
careful.
All right, so treat it like an after-school special.
And Matt Olson whacks this one high in the air to center. Ruiz swerving in.
That's a fun route. So the one thing on the MLB research tool, which is a great resource that they provide for broadcasters, is you can actually see the route. And that might be a fun one to look at.
That's not going on the demo tape of how to run down a ball in center field, but Ruiz had plenty of time.
You don't know what a tape is.
It's an idiom, right?
It's just a phrase. It actually was a real live thing, Wiley, that we had to use. I heard a comedian say this the other day, and I feel like it might apply to you. You've probably never rewound anything in your life, have you?
That's not true.
Really? Okay.
No, I'm old enough to have some blockbuster experience.
All right.
What was your blockbuster experience like?
It was a big deal. It started out first with the local video store that opened up. I remember the first time we actually rented a VCR, which was ridiculously large, and my father, who was a military man, brought home Enola Gay. That was the movie that we watched. Yeah, it was a thriller for a young child. But then, Walt Weiss's family owned a video store that came up. Walt's from my same hometown, but the video store was in the next town, I believe. I didn't know this until he had mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, talking about kind of hometowns and where we grew up and his upbringing there in suburban New York City. It was a big deal, though. You go to Blockbuster on a Friday night. What are you going to watch over the weekend? Big picks, and there was always that possibility that they were out of that movie, that it was rented too much and there was no copies available. You will never know that pain.
Ozzie Albies down the left field line, just foul.
And you just end up, renting a weekend at Bernie's again or something. Just be like, well, all right, I guess we'll watch this since they don't have whatever it is we wanted to watch tonight.
No, I experienced some of that. It took me I think 3 times to get Remember the Titans. That was a popular pick.
All right, good. I'm glad you experienced it then.
But since then, I've gotten everything else I ever wanted. So.
Yeah, now it's all right here at your fingertips.
Payoff pitch to Ozzie.
To give you an idea of what's the crowd size here tonight, that we could hear Ozzie calling timeout. I'm not against this idea, though. I'm not. We make fun of the Marlins a little bit, but I like it, again, because it works out great for us. It kind of changes the day. Not getting home real late.
Back in the day, this could have been a blockbuster baseball doubleheader.
Yeah, there you go.
9 innings. Pop in the tape, 7 o'clock, and then before you go to bed, be kind, rewind.
But you must, otherwise get a little expensive.
Ooh.
I hit him?
We're going to find out here. Right now, it looks like they're going to let Dubon go to third, which means it would have been ball 4.
Which was it?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Just a straight ball?
Apparently just a straight ball. Okay.
Let's take a peek here for Ozzie. Oh, yeah. It was the sound effects that got us, right? You heard him kind of grunt a little bit or react as if that ball may have hit him.
It was an anticipatory scream, CJ.
Good word.
Austin Riley anticipating a fastball, got a changeup. Braves with 2 runs in the top of the first. Marlins answered right back with 3 in the bottom half. Another changeup.
So the first at bat for Austin Riley, he saw first pitch changeup, but then was a lot of everything else. Sinker, cutter, 4-seamer, slider. He eventually struck out. This time around now, a couple of changeups. And so for Garrett, he has thrown everything at Austin Riley. Kind of tough to pick up on a trend.
Finds away that fastball. Austin yesterday went 0 for 4, but he's raised his batting average by about 25 points so far in this month of May, and of course coming off a great Sunday afternoon against the Red Sox. Double and a homer. And I think it was Birdie making this point too. But you go back to that big year in 2021 for Austin when he really broke out. It was a slow start for him that season as well.
Which is good experience to draw off of, right? No panic. You've done it before. What's interesting about this month, so we talked about a handful of lefty starters that the Braves saw there for a while that kind of got him going. And now you look at what he's done here in May, and he's crushed the righties. The OPS is over 1,000. He's actually struggled a little bit against the lefties at just a 182 batting average, but well over 300 against righties so far this month.
Broken bat, and it's dropped by Garrett.
Austin better keep running just in case.
Hold on, no, I think we've got.
Oh, they're calling it out.
Yeah, calling it out, saying he lost it on the transfer, so it is going to be a line out.
Still run just in case they didn't call that. Go all the way through unless he heard the umpire say that he was out. And that could have been a double play, and it probably was on the exchange, and Braxton Garrett maybe panicking a little bit. Oh, yeah, he had the catch. And it's a good call. But that's why he threw the ball to second, because he thought maybe they were calling that he didn't catch it.
But you're right, Dubon. He was a long ways off of third there. And we saw Michael Harris come through with 2 outs in the first inning. Driving in Dubon from third and see if he can do it again. Exit velo on that liner, you got to guess?
I'd see. I didn't see it. I'm
42.
Gonna say 42. Oh, that's what I just guessed.
Michael Harris floats it into left, coming on, sliding effort by Hernandez, and he makes the catch. Wow. Nice play in left field from Miami. Hernandez not out there often, CJ.
Yeah, a little bit of luck here. Nice play. We'd like to have seen that hit the turf, though.
Other stop will do.
The third inning is brought to you by Audi. Experience the all-new Audi Q3 at your local Atlanta area Audi dealer. And that is the $2.5 million statue outside the stadium here at Lone Depot Park. And now let's go down to the man with the $2.5 million smile, Nick Green. Greeny, what's going on, man?
Wiley, thanks for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I talked to Martin Perez earlier today, and we saw that first inning a little bit rough for him, but he's able to bounce back in the second inning. I asked him what the biggest difference was this year compared to years past when he has been hurt. We know that has been a factor, but he said just being able to use his entire pitch mix for one. He's not afraid of contact, and he said once he gets on the mound, he wants to compete. I think that goes a little bit underrated with all the data out there. We know how good his changeup is, but once you get on the mound, you kind of throw all that stuff away and you compete, and that's a big factor in his success this year.
Yeah, he is a huge competitor. He's fun to watch. He really is, and he's always gotten after it throughout his career. I think there's a lot of pride in what Martin Perez brings to the table when he is on the mound. And he's not afraid of any hitter, and even when you look at kind of where his stuff is just from a raw standpoint, right? He's not going to blow you away with a big-time fastball, but he'll go at anybody. He understands how his stuff best works, living on the corners, in, out, moving in all different directions.
And he loses Lopez, a leadoff walk. Let's take a look at his pitch mix so far in 2026.
Yep, he has led with that changeup. You can see it there 32% of the time, and it's going to be in that location, the green one there, more often than not. You got the two-seam fastball, cutter, curveball, four-seamer, all in there for Martin. The off-speed pitches really have been excellent. And even that four-seamer, doesn't use it very much, but you see a very low 167 batting average against.
And now Heriberto Hernandez takes a called strike. Keep an eye on Otto Lopez. I was speaking with pitching coach Jeremy Hefner ahead of this series. He mentioned that Miami, not only do they lead the league in stolen bases, but they like to go early in the count.
Well, again, this is kind of a fun matchup because Martin doesn't have a stolen base against him. Sandy has thrown the ball well this year.
And Otto Lopez 7 for 10 on the bases this season. I give a little love Nick Green too. He's going on a little less sleep than is ideal. Got in late last night because he had to attend the graduation of his daughter Indy, graduating from 5th grade. Greeny, congratulations, man.
Wiley, I appreciate that. It was pretty entertaining.
Martin Perez did not entertain Hernandez with that pitch. He locked him up on the inside corner.
Look, Wiley, when you have kids, you'll understand sometimes you have to take days off to make them happy. So I was proud to be able to be there, and I was very thankful for Gretchen for giving me the day off.
Well, you missed a great game yesterday. I wish you were here for it. It took like 6.5 hours. There was a 20-minute delay, and the Braves got smoked. So I'm glad it worked out for you, that was the game that you got to miss.
Well, Wiley told me last night that I could have helped you guys out, but I'm glad that you guys were able to cover it.
Yeah, I think you landed before the game was over, it felt like.
Well, Greeny, it gave us something to look forward to today.
Wiley, have you ever been beat up and came back the next day and been great?
That's right. Listen, it's been the Braves story all year,
Yep,
right? The handful of losses that they have, the way that they have bounced back, and Wiley brought a very interesting tidbit of information, like he always does. It's never just one, but it was very Nick Green specific about the last time Nick Green ever went deep in his career. He was wearing a Miami Marlins uniform.
As Christopher Morel gives this one a ride, and it's off the top of the wall. Here comes Lopez around third. He'll slam on the brakes. Dubon trying to, I think, deke Lopez a little bit there out left. But it is going to be a double for Christopher Morel.
So he punched out in his first at-bat against the Martin Perez changeup. Martin went to the changeup again here. And you see how it stayed straight, didn't necessarily have that fade away from the righties like we usually see. That gave Morel a chance. Not a bad idea there from Mauricio Dubon with the great speed that you're dealing with there with Lopez. Was that homer in this ballpark for Greeny?
It was.
Some good memories here for Nick Green.
Infield is all the way in. And a swing and a miss from Esteury Ruiz. It's a big spot here for Martin Perez.
So we don't necessarily look at him as a swing and miss strikeout type of pitcher. However, he does have 5 punch-outs today, and this would be a great time to get one or a weak pop-up.
Instead, a fly ball to center, bringing Harris back. This ought to be deep enough. Harris makes the catch. Lopez scores, and Morel is up to third. That's the second out. Miami now leads 4-2. So leadoff walk comes around. And Kyle Stowers, who hit a rocket double his first time up against Perez.
Remember, was on a two-seam fastball that was in. Martin and Sandy Leon trying to go away there with a first pitch changeup.
Ball on a strike. Looking down at the Marlins bullpen, Anthony Bender has been warming up for quite a bit. Keep in mind, Braxton Garrett, just his second start since being called back up, but I mean, he was throwing normal starts down in the minor leagues, CJ.
He got up to 8 no-hit innings in April, so it's a little bit of a surprise here for the Marlins. The way Bender is throwing, it seems like he's absolutely coming in this game to start the 4th. It's aggressive. Unless there's something wrong.
Yep. But for Garrett, the pitch count at 65. And Stowers unraveled by Perez, but the Marlins add another run. 4-2 Fish after 3.
And bonus cash on most Chevy models.
Marlins with a 4-2 lead going to the top of the 4th. Anthony Bender has come in for Miami. He's been on quite the run, CJ. Last 10 appearances have been scoreless.
Yeah, he's been pretty good here. Strikeout rate very good at nearly 26%. The walk rate, though, is high. You can see 8 walks for him in his 17 2/3. Sweeper, 2-seamer, slider, and then every once in a while a changeup and a 4-seamer.
And with the lefty Garrett out of the game, Mike Yastrzemski will pinch hit for Jose Azocar and face the righty. How about the homestand for Yaz? Goes 6 for 10. Game time homer on Tuesday. Pinch hit go ahead double on Wednesday. Walk off double on Friday. And then homered for good measure on getaway day Sunday.
Yeah, it was a great homestand. Looking for that to continue now here on the road. But I'll tell you what, the combination that he just saw from Bender. First pitch sinker, second pitch was a sweeper, and both of them moving a lot in opposite directions. And you can see why he's been on a good run lately.
I mentioned 10 scoreless appearances. That has spanned 10 innings. Hasn't walked anyone, given up just 3 hits. And I think we'll see the Marlins use their bench as well as soon as Martin Perez is out of this game. That was the intel we got before the game, that Clayton McCullough has got a few lefties he's ready to deploy as soon as the Braves go to their bullpen with a right-handed option. And Yaz beat that time by the sweeper. And it's a strikeout to begin the afternoon for Bender.
That one's nasty. Just a 161 batting average against. I'm surprised to only see a 25% whiff rate on this pitch so far this season. And you see the lower arm angle in which he throws from, right? So you don't see a lot of depth on that pitch. If anything, it almost looks like it has a little upshoot to it.
And hitters against Bender are now 0 for their last 24. Sandy Leon will bat from the left side now. But for Garrett to only go 3 innings, CJ, just given where the Marlins have been at from a rotation standpoint, they've struggled to get a lot of length. And Max Meyer, of course, gave him 6 yesterday, but prior to that, it had been a little bit of a battle recently.
Could be because of the pitch count, the handful of walks. Maybe they didn't like what they saw, and they felt like they have an opportunity since they have the lead to go ahead and get to the bullpen and take a shot at winning this game. But that is a lot of work for the pen.
Bouncer to first. Morel takes it himself. Before Hassan Kim comes up, let's get a quick message from Zaxby's.
Zaxby's giant chicken finger quesadillas. Get them while you can. Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
The rotation for Miami, I mean, you've got obviously Sandy Alcantara, we'll see on Thursday. Eury Perez, who has struggled so far this year. He was supposed to be one of their top arms. You got Jansen, Junk, and Max Meyer, but that fifth spot's been a bit of a revolving door. Chris Paddock, who they brought in the offseason, he was DFA'd, really struggled.
He's now a Cincinnati Red.
And a guy who's had some success over the course of his career, but just wasn't working here in Miami. And then a real tough blow for the Marlins. Their number 2 prospect, Robbie Snelling, came up, looked pretty good, but then suffered a UCL sprain, and that's what brought Braxton Garrett back to the big leagues. Full week back for Ha-Seong Kim. And he sends this one in the air towards the Marlins dugout and into the seats. Think that shirt was all the way buttoned when he got here?
Might have been. He might have lost the button going after that foul ball.
These guys are happy. Good chance for foul balls today. One, 2 to Kim. And he spoils this one. How about this note from our friend Mitch Smith? The Marlins have had only one starter go 6 innings or more this month. Max Meyer.
And it probably could be a little bit more philosophical, right, for the Miami Marlins.
Tapper back to the mound. Bender's got it. And he works a clean 4th inning. School is almost out. Might be out depending where you're at, but just 2 young ladies enjoying the ball game. I think, I'm not sure school's been in for that one yet. That might be coming up. As Connor Norby will lead off against Martin Perez.
Better feeling than the last day of school.
No.
When you're a kid.
Mike Yastrzemski will remain in the game in right field after pinch hitting for Azokar. And Norby lifts the 1-1 into right center. Yes. Ball will find you. In case you missed the news earlier today, a lot going on. Drake Baldwin placed on the injured list with a strained oblique. Chadwick Trump recalled in his stead. And then some changes in the bullpen. Dylan Dodd activated from the injured list. Made a couple appearances in April before going down. And then Victor Medeiros, been with the Angels the last 3 years, ready to make his Braves debut after being in Gwinnett to start the year.
And the big part of that also is the corresponding moves on the pitching side. J.R. Ritchie went down to the minor leagues option. Aaron Bummer was released today. And Walt Weiss had talked about J.R. Ritchie and saying this is not a reflection on how he is thrown. We've talked about this in what the Braves have done with their 6-man rotation, but not a straight 6-man, right? The way that they've been kind of working it. If there was going to be a disruptive start, that was probably going to have to come to an end or at least have some version of a reset. I think that's probably what this is right now, and certainly it's going to be a fluid situation, but they were feeling a little bit thin in the bullpen. When they had the 6, Martin kind of going back and forth, Grant Holmes, same thing. Gave a little bit of a challenge to manage the bullpen and keep them all in a really good spot. So they need that full bullpen now going forward, and that means that one of the starters had to go down and just not a lot of options for a lot of players.
Called strike 3. Martin Perez statues Jimenez. That is now 7 strikeouts for Perez.
It is something that he has done really well in his career, and it's the 3rd time now today that Martin Perez has registered a strikeout looking. And that is paint right there on that outside corner. Is what he was trying to do to Edwards in the 1st inning, but left it out actually where it ended up catching the inner 3rd and turned into a leadoff home run instead.
Big rip and a miss that time from Joe Mack. But it was a topic entering the season, CJ, with the way the Braves bullpen was constructed. There weren't a whole lot of guys with options back there.
It's hard to get the level of what you expect out of Braves pitchers to build a bullpen that then also has flexibility, right? Because to get to that point, you got to have some experience under your belt. Now, Didier Fuentes is one of those guys that has options, but he's impactful. You don't want him going anywhere right now.
And the same story for Dylan Lee.
Yeah, he's not going to. I was shocked actually to see that he still had options left. And that is a non-factor for Dylan Lee.
Just missed off the plate.
2 options left.
Well, he told us
too often at 31 years old.
He told us at spring training, saying, "I got to make this team." Remember that? It's like, Dylan, I think your spot's probably safe. But knowing he needed some depth, that was going to be a tough decision. And Aaron talked about it with the media last night, saying he's trying to figure some things out mechanically, and with where the Braves are at in the bullpen, they just couldn't afford to have him back there while he was trying to work through some things. Swing and a miss. Martin Perez carves up Joe Mack. He's retired 5 in a row. With
This ain't a wrap. It's a whole dang sleeping bag.
Who's got the sauce?
Welcome back to Miami. Marlins up 4-2 into the top of the 5th inning. Ronald Acuna Jr. is set to lead off the inning, and we know how important he is to this lineup. We know what he means to the lineup when he is right. It's time for him to get going. No better time to get going than against the Marlins. You can see the highest OPS versus the Marlins in their career. Minimum 400 plate appearances. Ronald is right there behind Barry Bonds. And we've talked about picking up the slack for Drake Baldwin. If this guy gets going, it's going to be a huge help for this offense.
First pitch swinging and first pitch hooking down the left field line, and that'll one hop off the wall. Ronald digging for 2, and he'll have it coasting in. Well, if it wasn't about facing the Marlins, when you get a Nick Green report, you know it's inevitable.
Good looking swing here. It's 2-seam fastball. They're trying to go away, maybe backdoor, but sits middle. Good looking swing here from Ronald. And I'm going to get on the Nick Green train because I did notice something about Nick Green today. Is I don't know we were allowed to have our shirts untucked. I'm untucking right now after that double from Ronald. We must be in Miami. It's a casual Tuesday here for a day game.
The club is going up on a Tuesday. And now we're 1 for 1. You made a rap reference I didn't get earlier.
Yeah.
Now I made one you didn't get, and we're good.
I did miss that. Sorry, I was thinking about something else because Mauricio Dubon, somebody asked me an interesting question today with him starting in the 2-hole, saying what spots has he started in? Well, it's been every spot except the 3-hole this year. And what makes that even more fun is that there's only been one Brave, Wiley, since 1901 that went through a full season and had a start at each of the 9 positions over the course of one single season. They had at least one start, 1 through 9, the entire year. Since 1901. Now, there was a hint as we were giving it away. Michael Harris did it in 2022. That's the only Brave ever to start at least one game at every position in the batting order. Now, Mauricio Dubon, in a way, I hope he doesn't bat third, just because that means somebody else is probably down. But that's the only spot he has not started a game in yet, and it's only May 19th.
To your point, I would have guessed maybe it happened last year or the year before with all the injuries the Braves faced. But Michael Harris in 22. It does also seem in today's game players are more comfortable moving up and down in the batting
100%.
order, right?
They're just used to it. It's where the game is. You have to be open to the idea of hitting in different spots in the lineup.
Good take from Dubon. It's a far cry from when the Yankees had their jersey numbers correspond with the batting order.
That's right. I mean, and even where the Braves were a couple of years ago
Yep.
for the most part, right? I mean, it was same lineup, what felt like every night.
Payoff. And Dubon pokes it in the air. Shallow center. Ruiz calls for it. So Dubon now 2 for 3 today. On the 3-hole today for the Braves, that'll be Matt Olson. And I think Matt Olson's had this happen a time or two in his career. He's coming up, and it looks like the Marlins are going to turn to a lefty. Clayton McCullough is coming out. Well, Ronald Acuna Jr. gets the first hit off of Anthony Bender and nearly 25 hitters. He's aboard at second. Andrew Nardi's coming in. Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by your local Ford dealer, by Delta Airlines, keep climbing, and by the Georgia Lottery. Hurry and play Cash for today to instantly win an extra $444 now through June 30th, only from the Georgia Lottery. Braves trail by 2, but they got the tie and run at the plate, and it is now time for our Liberty Mutual Insurance field coverage. And yes, the Braves have terrorized the Marlins since their very existence, going all the way back to 1993. Only the Dodgers against the Rockies. Rockies also played their first season in 93, and then the Yankees over the Orioles. Only
so how
two
about this,
head-to-head.
Wiley? Win the next 3, and it'll be 330. You can tie the Dodgers there, what they've done against the Colorado Rockies, and then that opportunity could be there to even get ahead of everybody involved. But it starts here.
And Matt Olson facing a different lefty here. And first pitch, it's a rocket into right center field. That's going to roll all the way to the wall. Acuna will score easily, and Matt Olson, RBI double, wastes no time on the very first pitch.
Very nice job here by Matt Olson. You got the left-on-left matchup with Andrew Nardi. They bring him in, of course, to get the lefty, but he's had his issues. OPS over 760. And that first fastball, you don't let it go by. You got a runner in scoring position. It's in the zone. He throws a lot of fastballs. And Matt Olson was ready. Smoked it. 110.
And the Braves cash in the leadoff double from Ronald Acuna Jr. More than half of the Braves' plate appearances so far today have come with a runner in scoring position. They are now 2 for 8.
Who grunted there? Was it Nardi or was it Ozzie?
I thought it was Ozzie.
Okay. There's those left-right splits that we're talking about. The OPS also following.
Big swing from Ozzie.
That walk right, though, and you see that slider probably outside of the strike zone is part of the issue here for Andrew Nardi at 14%. Coming into this game. League average is about 9.5% this year, which is a little bit even high for the league. But he's well above it.
2-1, hit in the air, left field. Hernandez has a beat on it. Makes the catch on the warning track. Ozzie just got underneath it. It'll be up to Austin Riley. Chance to tie the game with a 2-out RBI.
Ooh.
By the way, that double for Matt Olson, his 16th of the season, that leads all of Major League Baseball. His 30th extra base hit. Austin Riley comes up empty there. But so far in May, he has been our Georgia Natural Gas Greener Life Impact Player. Starting to heat up a little bit for Riles.
Yeah, he's been really good. You go back again, looking at these now 16 games so far this month. That OPS at nearly 800. It's a firm changeup that Nardi throws there. 89 miles an hour the last couple to Austin Riley.
Nardi trying to keep the fish in front. And he will. Austin Riley chases a high heater. But the Braves with a couple of doubles, CJ, cut the Marlins lead in half.
Good inning here for the Atlanta Braves, getting a little bit closer here for the comeback win. Matt Olson cashing in. Ronald Acuna Jr.
Toyota, let's go places.
Don't miss a moment this season. Braves.tv. You can stream the entire season within the Braves territory for just $79.99. You can watch games at home or on the go and stay connected all year long. Visit Braves.tv for details and start streaming today. Well, CJ, Martin Perez has got a chance to do something he has never done before. And Xavier Edwards drives one deep the other way this time, but Yaz runs it down.
What is that one thing, Wiley?
Double-digit strikeouts.
Oh, we got to get the 9 first, right? So get the 9, which would tie your career high. Martin Perez has done that 4 times where he has struck out 9 batters in a game. He did it last year. It's the last time that he had done it. So let's get to 9 and then potentially setting a career high. It's shocking to me, and as good as he's been, I know he's not known necessarily as a strikeout pitcher, but that he hasn't had in all these years in the great career that Martin Perez has had, that we haven't seen a 10 strikeout game yet. 15 years in the big leagues. This is his 285th start.
And Otto Lopez takes a called strike. Major League Baseball's hits leader with 64. And he sends one sharply. Kim knocks it down on a dive, but he'll have no play. Another infield single for Lopez.
And quite honestly, even if he catches it cleanly with the speed that you get here from Lopez, it was going to be a tough play. Look how far Kim had to go there. He was there full extension, but in and out of the glove.
And we were talking between breaks about this, CJ, but so far today for Martin Perez, he's gotten 13 outs, 8 by strikeout, 5 in the air, not a single ground out. Part of that has to do with the speed of Otto Lopez. And a soft liner off of Kim's glove. He can't make the catch. And Lopez will have time to scurry to second. The Marlins get a couple of minute board here.
And it sounded louder than it probably was. Just 87 miles an hour off the bat. Perhaps maybe some movement that ended up kind of fooling Ha-Seong Kim. He was right there, and unfortunately could not come up with it cleanly.
And now Christopher Morel. And Perez gets the strike at the top of the zone.
Something like that happens. We know what a great defender Ha-Seong Kim has been over the course of his career at shortstop. You'd almost love to see him get a ground ball and turn this into a double play and get out of the inning.
Saw Dylan Dodd warming up. Activated from the injured list today. His last appearance with the Braves was in late April in D.C. That will be an error on Kim. And he had Morel mistimed on that curveball, 1-2. Morel had a double back in the third inning down the left field line. See some action in Miami's bullpen. The last time he had a extra base hit the other way to the right of second base, September of 2024.
Wow.
There go the runners. Leon throws down to third.
Oh.
And he is safe. Otto Lopez avoided the tag, according to Alfonso Marquez.
So Lopez comes up pointing in, assuming that he was called out, which he wasn't. Looks like he was asking for a replay. Looked like the throw beat him. Question of whether or not, no, they say he's safe, that the tag happened before the hand got in there. It's a good throw from Sandy Leon. That's a good slide, too, to the outside part of the bag there for Lopez. And getting in there with his right hand. If he goes straight into the bag and both hands are even, he's out.
Able to hold on to the bag, too. Infield in. And a full count on Morel. thinking first base is open to set up the double play. Ruiz on deck has some of the best speed in all of baseball. Strike 3 called. Christopher Morel caught looking, and on the box there, it was a close call, CJ, but he will not challenge.
Cutter here from Martin Perez, and another strikeout looking as they go backdoor here, and that's pretty close. You know, Sandy Leon does a really nice job of framing that up. Well, there you go. Make it now 5 times in the career of Martin Perez where he's registered 9 strikeouts.
And possibly his biggest batter faced of the game.
And again, 4 of those looking, which is something that he's always done well.
And Sandy Leon helping Martin Perez out again. Ruiz shows bunt, and that will be a foul ball. 0-2. Looking to catch the Braves off guard with 2 outs, runner at third. Martin Perez trying to keep this a 1-run game. Just missed inside.
It's a good pitch there. 2-seam fastball. Try to run it back. You're in that 0-2 count. So you're shooting off, and you don't even mind if it stays off. Now for Martin, lots of different ways to go. Backdoor cutter, changeup. You can throw that sinker again to either side as well.
Carved him up. Martin Perez climbs the ladder for his 10th strikeout. A new career high, and he keeps the Braves within 1.
Good job here. Elevated four-seamer is where Martin went to get punch-out number 10. The first time he's ever done it. Congrats.
We march to the 6th here in Miami. Marlins with a 4-3 lead. Martin Perez, critical strikeout to keep this a 1-run game. And now Michael Harris against Andrew Nardi. First pitch, well struck. Deep center field. That ball's got some life to it, and it's gone! Michael Harris ties the ball game with a solo shot to center field.
This baseball was hammered by Michael Harris. Little get me over slider, maybe outer third. And Michael did not hit it very high, but he hit it very far. 110 off the bat there, 421 feet, and it got out of here in a hurry.
And Mike Yastrzemski tries to lay down a bunt after the homer. You're not kidding, CJ. That was a level swing from Michael. He torches that first pitch slider. And Michael came into today with a modest 0 for. 0 for his last 12, but 2 hits and 2 RBI. And that is his 7th career home run here at Lone Depot Park. Only visiting ballpark where he has more. You want to guess?
For Michael, let's go Philly.
Nailed it.
Thank you.
You factor in some of the home run robberies he's had at Philly. He's got to be, what, plus 10?
His plus minus is in a great place.
Strike 3. And Yaz goes down looking. It's got a quick message from our friends at Delta.
From Braves country to the world. Delta, official airline of the Atlanta Braves.
And now Sandy Leon back from the right side. And he lifts the first pitch down the right field line. And not enough time for Stowers or Morel to make a play. So Braves led 2-0 in the top of the first. loaded the bases with nobody out against Braxton Garrett and took that early lead. Marlins responded instantly with 3 runs in the bottom of the first off Perez. After a tack-on run, it was 4-2. A couple of doubles from the Braves in the 5th made it 4-3, and then Michael Harris tying the game moments ago. For Harris, by the way, that's home run number 9.
Money back headband today. Straight cash, only hundreds.
All about the Benjamins, CJ.
Looks like your billfold. Only big bills.
There's probably more Monopoly money in there than I like to admit, but.
Brings up an interesting question. For your generation, like, do you carry a wallet? Do you have like the Ridge? Like I use the Ridge type of one, different company, but same idea. We got cash on the outside, holds a couple of cards. What are the kids doing these days?
So I don't think anybody would confuse me for an early adopter of new tech.
Yeah.
St. Leon's down swinging. I got shamed a little bit last year, got to be honest.
By BG?
By our crew.
Oh.
Wasn't just BG, but they started calling me Costanza with the wallet I have.
Oh, really? Got all your receipts in there?
So, look.
Or your cocktail napkins from whatever activities you're participating in the evenings?
I have found I'm sitting better this year.
Yeah.
I thinned it out, but I've yet to get the modern wallet, the modern clip.
Like the metal one?
Yeah.
And if you're lucky, you can get it personalized with your sourdough CJ sticker on there. That's where it's a limited edition.
See,
I really like this thing. Boom, boom, cash on the outside.
That's 2026. This is 2008.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece of leather you have there.
It is. It's got some baseball seams on it too. All right, we got a pitching change here in Miami. We'll organize the business cards in the meantime. We're tied here in Miami.
Makes Jack.
Marlins have called upon Michael Peterson, 6'7" right-hander, and a former Brave to come on here in the 6th.
With a big fastball.
And Ha-Seong Kim with a big swing on that heater. Lofted high in the air near the left field line. And it will be Hernandez making the catch. One pitch, and that's the end of the top of the 6th.
Liberty. Welcome into the Rooms to Go Lounge. I'm Lauren Saad. That's Peter Moylan. And Pete, how about that 5th inning from Martin Perez?
Unbelievable job getting out of that, especially with the double steal and getting the 2 punch-outs. Great night from him.
Yeah, we've got a good one. We'll get you back to the game out in Miami.
Going to the bottom of the 6th, Braves and Marlins. And, how about Lauren Saad there? 8.5 months pregnant. She is working. And we can't even get Nick Green to tuck in his shirt. But
yeah, it's a great point. Not all heroes wear capes, and we certainly do appreciate Lauren being there. And not only just being there, but having to tolerate Peter the entire time. And doing great work as always. We look forward to the 7th inning stretch. And with hopefully, at that point, the Braves leading. And maybe Peter will talk about Didier Fuentes throwing back-to-back games for the first time here as a big leaguer.
Something Walt Weiss had talked about not wanting to do a couple of weeks ago just because Didi had never done that before. But after a low-leverage opportunity last night, thrown into the thick of it here in a tie game, and it was a 23-pitch outing for Fuentes last night.
And so I think because of his history, the role that he is in, feels like this likely would be a 1-inning outing if everything goes smoothly.
Well, right now, everything's going smoothly for Didier Fuentes, and Kyle Stowers looks like he's trying to drink out of a fire hose.
I think maybe you stay there. We'll see, of course, that excellent breaking ball he has as well. You start cheating to the fastball, then you're toast on the breaking ball.
1-2. And Stowers able to get to it this time, but it's skied in the air left side. Kim has got it. And I think for Fuentes, if he's going to be an arm in your bullpen long-term this year, he's going to have to be able to go back-to-back, right?
Yeah, I think so. Again, multi-inning weapon has been the real fun part with him, and how he can connect maybe a starter that doesn't get deep in the game but you're in the game. You have a chance to win it before you hand it off to your big dogs at the back end, or when guys are down, he can serve in that 7th and 8th inning role.
Norby swinging first pitch. He yanks it foul.
But you're right. I mean, it's one of those things that when you make that decision, nice play down the line there. Once you make that decision to have a guy like him in the bullpen, you kind of, yes, you want to be a little careful at times, but still have to treat him like a regular reliever.
And Fuentes sizzles 99 in for a strike.
Did you just notice the carry on that? Like, so there was a time we'd watch that fastball and be like, oh, wow, that just had great carry. That had 20 inches of induced vertical break on it. That is elite level. And so it's just that ball looks like it should fall out of the zone. Like, you watch a fastball that's starting at the bottom like that, and they generally will go down. And everyone goes down, but doesn't go down nearly as much as Fuentes has this fastball that is fighting gravity.
Right now he's fighting the shoelace.
Where I have lost the battle to gravity as I get a little bit older, Wiley, it's going to happen to you too.
You lost an inch?
I don't know if I've gotten any shorter, but everything's a little bit lower.
Sandy Leon took that one off the mask. Home plate umpire Jonathan Parra going to buy him some time.
I hate seeing it after what we saw yesterday. And Sandy, we saw, of course, of the home plate umpire Alfonso Marquez, and Sandy having to deal with it as well.
Braves have lost enough catchers already this year. This week.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it is kind of a scary proposition that, God forbid, something else would happen to a Braves catcher until Drake Baldwin gets back, and we're still kind of waiting on that news and what kind of grade oblique strain he's dealing with.
Just missed with the slider. Does that take from Norby tell you anything?
It's impressive. I mean, perhaps maybe he's thinking about the fastball, or he saw the breaking ball well, or he just got lucky that it wasn't a strike. That is. Ooh,
oh my. Ball 4. And the Braves already lost one challenge today. Sandy Leon early in the game, back in the first inning.
Good one. This is really close, and I understand why Sandy might have been hesitant. They may have lost that one. Really close.
So 1-out walk, and now Leo Jimenez. And now time called, looks like, from Leon. Braves just tied the game in the top of the 6th on the Harris homer. Fuentes trying for a shutdown inning.
You know, guys, speaking of Sandy Leon behind the plate and maybe a little timid with the challenges, when you watch him frame the ball, he pushes it back to the zone so well. Sometimes I feel like he might fool himself with what's a strike and what's a ball.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He does such an excellent job back there, and you're trying to hope that you can fool an umpire. I think we've seen it with pitcher reactions, right? You're fooling the pitchers once in a while, and there was a pitch earlier this year that Dylan Lee had thrown to Sandy Leon that he made look pretty good, but clearly was a ball. He got a reaction from Dylan Lee. It was like an emotional reaction, and then Sandy challenged. I think everybody knew it was probably out of the zone, which it was by a decent margin, but that definitely is a factor. Good framers and the influence they have on challenges.
Boy, those are some quality 0-2 locations, right? CJ and the Marlins aren't biting.
Yeah, very interesting to see. Now, a lot of times you can get in your own head. You got to be careful when that happens. Oh, were they picking up something? Did they know that slider was coming? Hopefully not.
1-2 now from Didi. Locked him up. And a challenge coming here.
Bottom challenge called strike.
I think they're going to win this one. We'll see.
Let's see if he slipped out of the handcuffs.
Again, because you have that really good carry, but this one did not have that same kind of vertical break that you get. Now think about this. You're seeing that same fastball in that location with 19 to 20 inches of vertical break. Then he throws that one and only has 15. So that one actually did come down a little bit compared to how all the other ones looked.
Yeah, he gets his normal carry. That probably gets back to the bottom of the zone. Two-two. Ground ball, diving stop by Riley. He'll go to second, and they get the lead runner. Great play from Austin Riley. Taking that throw from his knees.
Excellent work here, as you mentioned, from Austin Riley. He's going to go full extension here to his left. First to catch this ball, and that is everything he has to get to it. and then makes a really nice throw from his knees. Ozzie smart there to be kind of thinking about making sure you get the out at first, because when you see an infielder throwing like that from the knees, you're not expecting one that's going to be right in the chest. You're going to turn a double play. You've got to be ready for a throw that could go in any direction, and he was.
And with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th, the Marlins have their first ground out offensively of the day. And it's the last out for Didier Fuentes. Dylan Lee jogging in.
$15.99. Applebee's all you can eat for $15.99.
Tie game here in the bottom of the 6th, and Walt Weiss has pushed the Dylan Lee button, making his first appearance since Friday.
Yeah, and it makes some sense, right? You get your left-on-left matchup here. You talked about what they could do potentially with their lineup for the Marlins. That meant going out and getting lefties. You're not going to do it here, obviously, against Dylan Lee, who's just having a phenomenal season.
Faces Joe Mack, who shows bunt. Takes ball 1. Dylan facing the team that drafted him back in 2016 out of Fresno State. As he checks on Jimenez.
Martin had struck out Mack in his first 2 plate appearances on a couple of different off-speed pitches. He went left-on-left change. He went cutter. And even though Dylan Lee has that change, it'll likely be more fastball slider.
Couldn't make it through the front door there.
It's a smart play here by Walt, right? And you feel like you really like the matchup for Dylan Lee. The only righty that they have on the bench is Sanoja, and then you'd have to put Hicks in the catcher spot right after that. So you kind of would lose the ability to pinch hit him in this tie game. He wouldn't hit for another 9 batters.
Just missed there. 3-1 to Mack, and lurking on deck, Xavier Edwards, who's homered twice already in this series. Beat him that time with the fastball.
It's probably been one of the more underrated parts of his game. And that's the Dylan Lee heater and the ride that he gets on. I mentioned Fuentes getting up to 20 inches. That one there at 21. Again, you're talking elite territory for both of these guys with their fastballs.
Jimenez is off, and Joe Mack is out. Fastball, top rail, and Dylan Lee closes out the 6th. We are still tied. Gets. That shirt is pretty saucy. But it's the top of the Braves order that has the sauce. Who's got the sauce? Thanks to our friends at Zaxby's. How about the top of the Braves order today? They have delivered thus far.
And how about a little bit more? Because this game is tied, and we are at the top of the order right now. It's been a good start. There's still some work to do.
And Ronald Acuna Jr. hits this one near the roof on the infield. And the play is made by Jimenez. So far for Ronald, all good in his return. First game he's appeared in for a little over 2 weeks after going down with that hamstring strain. And now Mauricio Dubon. You see him step away like that. That tells you auto take a little bit.
You see it a lot from him. I think he picks his spots, and it'll also mess with you a little bit as a pitcher when you see that. Like, did he know something I didn't know? Was he sitting on a pitch that he was willing to take a peek at?
Might have said, let's see a strike first. Good day so far for Dubon in his 2-hole debut.
Wiley, CJ, you guys talk about Dubon with that auto take, and I think at times he is looking for pitches. At times he's not. He's setting guys up, and I think looking at this day and age with guys staying with an approach, you don't see guys set pitchers up quite as much, but he does.
Yeah, it's a good point, and it's effective. And you're right. I don't feel like we see it a ton. A couple different ways I think that you could do it, at least from my side, and seeing it on the mound, right? The way that you maybe take a pitch. There's also the times where Manny Ramirez was famous for this, would foul off a pitch, act like he just missed it with the idea of duping you into going to something else, and he'd be sitting on that pitch instead. Part of what made him so successful. I think now you become so reliant on data that maybe it takes some of that out of the game a little bit when you think about what you're doing or trying to do to get into a pitcher's head.
Another 2-2 to Dubon. Manny Ramirez kind of had some mythical qualities about him, so CJ, I'm not sure if you can confirm this story. I know I've heard it. Regardless, it's a good one. But, in those early days of video, when guys are starting to watch before a game, broken bat, rolled out to third, and Jimenez throws out Dubon. But I heard a story, Manny Ramirez, instead of watching video on the opposing starter's most recent outing or what he did against him in previous times he faced him, Manny would ask for the opposing pitcher's home runs allowed.
Interesting.
Just watch him give up all the home runs, 10, 15 homers, and then he would ask, can you show me all my home runs?
Yeah, why not? I hadn't heard of that before, but it certainly makes some sense. See some negative from the pitcher, see him struggling, see your positive.
So basically, Manny walks out of there being, man, this guy stinks, and I'm really good.
That's right. Part of one of the many things that made him a great player.
Two 2-0 here on Matt Olson. Broke to double into right center in his last at bat. Heading the count 2-0.
Congrats.
Braves fans, you can stay tuned for the stretch fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. It'll be
was I on air?
Peter and Lauren. And a full count here on Matt Olson. Payoff from Peterson.
You see his fastball, you look at some of the metrics on top of that fastball, makes you wonder at times with Michael Peterson how he hasn't had maybe a longer and greater run. Now, he doesn't get great extension for a guy that is big, but he does have good velocity, does have pretty good ride on that heater.
And Matt Olson coaxes a walk. So go ahead, run aboard. And now a quick message from Truist.
Leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist. Learn how knowledge and care can work for you.
And now Ozzie, chance to bat from the left side for the second time today.
A lot of pitches inside Ozzie Albies today that have garnered some reactions from the Braves second baseman.
First time batted from the left side today. Yeah, he's been vocal. I mean, you know what it reminds me of, honestly, CJ, is, in a tennis match, everyone's quiet during the point, and you've got a player out there grunting. It kind of feels like that environment right now.
This ballpark definitely feels like we're at a tennis match. I would agree with that. Quiet, please.
one of the early round matches. We're not at the Wimbledon final yet.
30 love.
Three balls and a strike, and now it's out for Ozzy.
Nice.
You play much tennis?
Yeah, I do play a pretty decent amount. Not competitively or anything like that, but I like whacking those balls around.
3-1 and a foul tip. Gresham says it is in for Ozzy. I would make the case that Peterson is serving here.
Yep.
Which would mean the advantage is to the return.
Yeah.
Therefore,
now it kind of feels a little more even. Yeah.
Yeah. This is what we call deuce. There goes Ole. And Ozzy says it's ball. It was.
He's his own umpire.
Exactly.
So the amateur scene, as I'm sure you probably know, for tennis in Atlanta is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
My wife is all the way in. Is on way too many tennis teams. Has been for a really long time. I played on a team 1 year, and I was like, this is too much. Like, I like playing. I like getting the exercise. But I'm not into all the silliness and the nonsense that goes on.
Now, mound visit coming. This is Daniel Moscas, pitching coach for Miami. In his second season with the Marlins, he was the 4th overall pick back in 2007. Coming out of Clemson. You might remember Jason Hayward was taken 10 picks later by the Braves in that draft. Well, that was a brief visit there, CJ.
It was a quick one, and so that felt like more, hey, we're not trying to necessarily buy any time for anybody in the bullpen, right? There's no action down there in that Marlins bullpen. This was probably a little bit more strategic and very quick about how they wanted to go after Austin Riley.
Table is set for Austin. So far, Riley 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. And having to contend with a triple-digit fastball. You hear the echoes of the chop.
So you get the high velocity, you got the high vert. We talk about this a lot. When you see that opportunity to attack a fastball like this, it's hands above the ball the best you can. Otherwise, that barrel's going to go right underneath it. Of course, then the counter to that when you are the pitcher is using that slider and even that changeup. But I feel like with this kind of guy, you probably sit fastball until you get to 2 strikes.
And Austin is now on 2 strikes. Braves led this game 2-0 going to the bottom of the first. Then trailed 4-2 going to the 5th. Trying to retake the lead here. Swing and a miss. And Michael Peterson throws up a 0 in the 7th, and we'll throw it back up to Atlanta for the stretch with Peter and Lauren.
Welcome to the stretch, fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. Service, savings, sustainability. It's that simple.
Welcome into the stretch, fueled by Georgia Natural Gas. I'm Lauren Saad, that's Peter Moylan, and Pete, we've got a fun one in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Martin Perez was great today, but we got to talk about that offense, and it looks like Ronald Acuna Jr. hasn't missed a beat.
He has not. There's going to be questions about what he did today in that leadoff spot, and they were answered pretty quickly. Fell ahead in the count 3-0, and then took a huge hack on that 3-0. He walks, eventually scores on a sac fly from Ozzy Albies. He's already making his presence felt. And then Money Mike comes up, part of a huge day for him. Drives in a single. That was actually a huge single. Almost let off Braxton Garrett after just giving up 1 run with the bases loaded, none out. Then Ronald comes up. We all know how they're going to pitch him. They've pitched him the same way year after year. He rips a sinker that was inside. And Matty O does the rest, drives in a run. Then Money Mike with a solo homer to lead off, lefty. He continues his great start to the season. There is honestly, it doesn't matter who you throw at him at the moment, whether it's left-handed or right-handed, he's going to put a good swing on it, and he did it again there. We're tied 4-4. We've got to win this one.
Yeah, this one's not done yet. We're going to need a few more from those guys. So we'll get you back to the game after a quick message from our friends at Georgia Natural Gas.
When it comes to natural gas in Georgia, G&G leads the league. We keep it simple with great rates that save you money. We even make it easy to reduce your carbon footprint with greener life. Sign up in minutes at gng.com. It's that simple.
4 apiece going to the bottom of the 7th here at Lone Depot Park in Miami. And that means it's ice cream time.
Wiley, it's always ice cream time regardless of inning, but it is a good time. We need a little shutdown inning here. Not a shutdown. We didn't see the Braves scoring or anything like that, or the Marlins, but it's time for a 0 here. Keeping this game exactly where it is.
And a bunt shown by Xavier Edwards. Strike 1. For Dylan Lee, this is just the second time this season he's gotten a second up. In other words, he comes into one inning, then starts the next. Other time was against the Tigers back on April 29th. That was fresh off of welcoming his second child. Had some dad strength, perhaps. Went pretty well. Inning and 2/3, struck out 4. Struck out Joe Mack to end the 6th.
Last couple of years, watching the confidence in which Dylan Lee throws that fastball has been significant. It will always be about the slider because of how dominant that pitch is, but the fastball has gotten better. The changeup has gotten better. It's not just one weapon anymore for the lefty.
And Walt's talked about it too. You know, Dylan Lee has just gotten better every year he's been with the Braves. To the point now where I don't think you can exclude him from the conversation of top left-handed or set-up men in baseball. And keep in mind, the Marlins, they released him at the start of the 2021 World Series, and wow, I mean, what he has turned into, CJ. Again, one of the best relievers in baseball.
It's an absurdly high rate. Obviously, we talk about Mason Miller and the dominance that he brings to the table, and it is only Dylan Lee who's right behind him.
Leon gives chase. No play to be made. So Braves at the top of the order up in their half of the 7th. Now the Marlins at the top of their lineup here.
It's really interesting. You talk about the Marlins releasing him at the end of the spring training in 2021, which clearly, as he still has options left, he had them then.
And 3-2, sent in the air to center. Harris waltzing in, 1 away.
He pitched in 2 games that year for the Braves and had a really nice year in 22, and really has been incredibly consistent. This is career game number 221. Comes in with a 2.63 ERA, really nice strikeout rate, elite level walk rate. Really haven't been too many bumps in the road. The only thing last year that we saw was that home run rate jumped on him a little bit, right? 13 home runs allowed last year.
And Lopez looking for another infield single, this time on a bunt, and he's got it. He is 3 for 3 today, and not a single ball has left the infield.
And a walk in there too, right? So he's been on base all 4 times. And if you have that kind of speed, the idea of hitting the baseball on the ground is obviously this intentional with the bunt, but that's the right idea. And I think Austin Riley made a really smart decision too, not to try to throw this ball and make a great play.
So tie game, bottom of the 7th. With Lopez aboard at first, will he go?
So just like Martin Perez, Dylan Lee has not allowed a stolen base this year.
And Heriberto Hernandez. And he hits it sharply on a line in the left. That's down. And the Marlins threatening here in the bottom of the 7th with 2 on and 1 out.
Well, that may have been a little bit of the focus That was on Lopez, and this fastball finishes bottom third, and Sandy Leon wanted it elevated. They want top of the zone or above here. So mislocation on the fastballs will turn that into a base hit. Good time for a visit for a couple of different reasons. One, of course, kind of resetting in what you want to do here with Morel. But then also remember, when you have a moment like that with that kind of speed on the bases, a good time to try to steal third is usually the first pitch against the lefty. A little bit harder for the lefties to hold those runners at second base.
And it was Lopez and Hernandez who pulled off a double steal in the 5th. So you see Robert Suarez warming for Atlanta. So the gears are turning for Walt Weiss. And now Christopher Morel, pull heavy approach, facing the lefty Dylan Lee. Back-to-back sliders, and Morel comes up empty on the second.
And you mentioned his approach and how he has the tendency to pull a lot of baseballs, and so that means widening things here potentially. Could use that changeup off the plate and see if you can get him to pull off of it, or you take a shot with a fastball somewhere outside of the zone.
Try to go back door. Jeremy Hefner back towards the telephone. 1-2. Got him. Unraveled him with the slider. And that's a big second out for Dylan Lee.
All sliders in that plate appearance for Dylan Lee against Christopher Morel. And this one much better than the last one. After he got ahead 0-2, that one just disappears.
And now Ruiz. Missed with the fastball. Esteury Ruiz. Tremendous speed. Saw him trying to land a bunt for a base hit in his last plate appearance.
With that turn there, almost seems a little extra from Dylan Lee, and I've just missed it more than he may usually do. And I do wonder if it's the concern about relaying signs in not allowing Lopez over at second base to read into your glove and then be able to relay that. That's a hefty turn.
And 3-0 on Ruiz. Is that something that can affect your delivery?
I got to be honest. And I don't know if it's our camera angle that we have here and why it looks so different. It hadn't stuck out to me before. Also could be because Dylan Lee hasn't had very many runners out at second base for the year that he is having. I can imagine he would be doing something different in the middle of a big league season than he usually does. It just kind of caught my attention.
Gets the 3-0 or the 3-0 over for a strike. Now Kyle Stowers is on deck, a left-handed hitter, but he's got a lot more power than Ruiz. (3-1). Swing and a fly ball to left. Dubon racing towards the line. He's got it, and Dylan Lee strands a couple of Marlins. We go to the 8th, tie.
It's a tie game here in Miami as we head to the top of the 8th inning. Michael Harris set the lead off this inning. We saw his 9th home run earlier in the day. Michael Harris has been able to elevate the ball a lot better this year for one simple fact. His head's staying a little bit more still, and he's keeping it behind that front hip. When that head goes out in front of that front hip, the swing gets steep, and he cannot elevate baseballs. He has a really good knack for putting the barrel on the ball. Now he's starting to elevate, staying behind it much better this year.
How about one more time?
Didn't elevate that one on a line right there.
That would have played to the opposite field.
Michael tied the game with a first pitch swing in the 6th. Leadoff homer to straightaway center field.
By the way, don't let anybody ever tell you that peer pressure doesn't work. I did notice Nick Green had his shirt tucked in.
I don't like to think of it as peer pressure, CJ. I like to think of it as looking out for a teammate. Wear the ribbon.
It's the standard that we've set here. I mean, you're the one who set it as our maid sideline reporter.
Harris behind 0-2. Calvin Fauché has come on. And Michael got a piece of that maybe. Must have been hitting the ground. So he's down on strikes. One away here in the 8th. Braves, by the way, undefeated this year when tied after 7, CJ. 4-0.
Let's keep that going. You should take a look at the numbers here for Calvin Fauché. We mentioned this, the walks, and there's a couple of relievers here where you don't see necessarily the greatest strikeout to walk ratio, but low batting averages. Lots of off speed, but he's fastball, slider, changeup. He's one of the few that you're going to get more heaters out of.
And he has the highest ground ball rate in the Marlins pen. More than 50% of the balls put in play against him are on the ground. Mentioned it earlier, but man, Mike Yastrzemski, he could not have been more clutch over the past week in that homestand in Atlanta. Obviously had the walk-off on Friday. Mixing in game-time homer on Tuesday, go-ahead double on Wednesday. Now he's ahead in the count here in a tie game in the top of the 8th. Got a pitch he liked, couldn't square it up.
It's that 3-1 cutter, and again, this is an organization that seems to be really kind of pushing on this, and it falls into the fastball category, and I've talked about that a little bit. For me, it depends on how far off of the fastball can you really count that cutter in the fastball category. And for a guy that throws 96 with a cutter at 93, I think it makes some sense that you would include it in that group.
And Mike Yastrzemski draws a walk, so the go-ahead run is aboard at first. Looks like we might have a pinch hitter coming here for Atlanta with Sandy Leon's spot due up. Dom Smith is coming to the plate, and he already broke Miami's hearts once in the 8th inning this year. The go-ahead double in that come-from-behind win back on April 14th.
The number is fantastic for Dom Smith. Clutch numbers have been excellent for him as well, and so now he gets this opportunity here against a pretty tough righty because there's a little bit of a deeper repertoire. It could be a challenge for opposite-handed hitters.
And ball 1.
Dom's already seen him twice, though, this year. You do like that part. You get at least a peek at some of that repertoire. You get the fly out. And then he also had a punch out back when we were home.
Again, that cutter getting the foul ball, and got Joe Mack. Left hand in some pain there.
That one sat right in the middle, too. That was a cutter that did not do very much at all.
Joe Mack just called up less than 2 weeks ago, and one of the reasons they called him up, CJ, is because they weren't getting enough defense from their catcher spot.
It's interesting. Kept looking in the dugout. Looked like he was talking about his fingernail, and that look in the dugout almost making you wonder if a trainer was going to come out, but it doesn't happen.
All right, so Fauché got away with the middle cutter. Now he checks on Yastrzemski. We've talked a lot about how the Marlins like to run. No team in baseball has allowed more stolen bases than the Marlins. Again, part of that having to do with Joe Mack getting called up and trying to help that. And a challenge coming from Mack. That looked pretty good, CJ.
I thought it was actually called a strike. But I guess what we heard from behind home plate from Jonathan Parra was just out was maybe the word that he said, like meaning it's out off the plate.
So the pitch is a strike. The Marlins have 1 time remaining.
Well, now Dom Smith is out. And now Ha-Seong Kim. 0 for 3 today. Takes a first pitch strike.
A good time for Ha-Seong Kim to have a moment, right? A couple of tough defensive plays. So he's kind of getting his way back to the big leagues and trying to get comfortable.
Felt like he had that moment against the Red Sox. If it weren't for Aroldis Chapman's foot, looked like it could have been a walk-off base hit to steal that one. Braves, of course, still won the series. Another 1-1. All right, with Acuna waiting on deck, how does that affect how Fauché pitches Kim here?
I mean, I think he's going at him regardless, right? Ha-Seong Kim does not have very many at-bats just yet here at the big league level. You got 2 outs. I think no matter who was behind him, you want to be aggressive. Now, does that mean a fastball in this situation? I don't think necessarily it automatically makes it that.
And that was the cutter. Braves trying to respond after being shut out last night. And that one gets to the backstop, and Yaz is going to get in the scoring position. And that'll change the equation here a little bit.
All wild pitches are not created equal. This one was pretty wild. Look how much this misses by. It was right dead center in the middle of the left-handed hitter's batter's box. Wow.
Three and 2 on Kim. Ball 4. And that'll bring Ronald Acuna to the plate with the go-ahead run at second. Marlins bullpen has gotten themselves into a little bit of trouble these last couple innings with walks. And now Acuna has a chance to try and make them pay. And Fauché steals a strike with the curveball. And he was finding his stride before that hamstring strain back in early May. Look out.
He tried to overthrow that breaking ball. After getting a first pitch curve over for a strike, he tried to make that sweeper really nasty, and instead it backed up on him and nearly hit Ronald.
One and 2. Ronald already with a double and 2 runs scored today. Trying to come up clutch. Acuna swings and fouls it back. One, 2. Fauché at 24 pitches now in this inning. Braves trying to retake the lead. They've trailed ever since the first. And a full count on Ronnie.
You can see that sweeper is tight. Now he's gone to the curve. Remember at the beginning, Ronald saw another one. He also has that backdoor two-seam fastball. The risk there is that one running back into the barrel. Thinking maybe we see that cutter.
3-2. Runners are off. The pitch is outside, and the bases are loaded.
Again, that's his go-to pitch, but he saved it for the last one. Ronald had not seen one throughout the entire at-bat. Walks have been an issue, as we mentioned, for Fauché. 17% is that walk rate for him this year, and we've already got a couple now. What is it, 3 in this inning?
26 pitches in the inning, not a single one put in play. And Dubon takes ball 1.
A little bit surprised we didn't see a mound visit when you have an inning like this where you're throwing more balls than strikes, and you got the potential go-ahead run over at third with the bases loaded.
Dubon swings underneath the cutter. Big 1-1 pitch coming. And the count now tilts in Fauché's favor. We've seen Dubon with those clutch 2-strike, 2-out approaches, willing to go the other way. Can he come through again here? Doobie, soft grounder, one hopper. There's no play. The Braves will take the lead. Mauricio Dubon puts it in play. Good things happen, and Atlanta leads 5-4.
Very curious to see what was going on over at shortstop, and if Lopez was either so far in the hole or if he was just caught napping and not getting over there. For Morel, it's the momentum. Let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, there's not a strong effort to get over there at all with his great speed. He's thinking the play is going to be at first. It's not going to happen with your pitcher trying to cover. That is a defensive lapse by the Miami Marlins.
And the only pitch of the inning of the 30 Fauché has thrown that was put in play, and the Marlins didn't know what to do.
It's a tough play. It's a confusing play for sure, but you at least want to see your shortstop, especially when you have the great speed that he has, busting it over there to potentially try to get that out. The play at first with your first baseman moving that much toward the second base bag is a tough one. With your pitcher covering, you're going to throw against your body. It's very likely going to go sideways on you.
Still waiting on a scoring decision there.
Should be a hit. I mean, there's no play anywhere. There's no error to be given.
I think they're going to call it a fielder's choice, but no error.
What was his choice? If it was his choice, he would have got an out somewhere. He didn't have one available to him.
Maybe they're saying it was Lopez's choice not to go cover second as quickly as possible.
And that's a choice we're grateful for.
Olsen behind 0-2. Three walks in the inning. And then a lapse have given the Braves a 5-4 lead. 0-2. And Olsen, a bouncer left side, and sneaks through. 1 run scores. Here comes Acuna. A 2-run single for Matt Olsen. And the Braves lead 7-4.
It's kind of incredible. You see 3 walks, you see a defensive lapse, and then you have an 0-2 count and you give up a base hit. These are the kind of innings that will drive your manager absolutely crazy. It's a time that you want the strike zone expanded. Instead, Matt Olsen gets a pitch outer third, the way the defense is lined up. All kinds of room on that left side, and he pokes it through.
So all 3 walks from Calvin Fauché have come home to score, and he will not finish this 8th inning. 33 pitches, and the Braves find a way to take the lead back.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Comcast Business. All-in connection and protection your small business can rely on. No one does business like Comcast Business. By Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealers today. And by Alpha Insurance, your winning lineup for auto, home, life, and health. Braves topping off this 7th inning with 3 runs here in the 8th, beg your pardon. But the Braves have the lead, and the Marlins are going to Lake Bacher.
Going to Lake Bacher sounds kind of fun, doesn't it? I'm going to bring the speedboat.
Get the tube out there for the kids.
Yeah.
The Braves have scored 3 runs here in the 8th inning. Ozzie, the 8th man to step to the plate. And how about this, CJ? Each of the first 7 hitters in this inning had 2 strikes on them.
And, of course, there were a couple of strikeouts. That kind of makes some sense. But then thinking about the 3 walks, the 2-out base hit, I'm calling it a base hit for Mauricio Dubon, and then the 0-2 base hit for Matt Olson. Oh, it did get changed to a hit. I mean, listen, we got Nick Green to tuck his shirt in. We bullied the PA or the scorekeeper here to change that one to a hit. I got to tell you what, I'm feeling pretty confident right now. Who else wants a piece of me?
Ozzie Albies gets a piece of that one, but right on the line to Edwards. But the Braves have taken the lead. 3 runs in the 8th, and it's Robert Suarez time.
Find your nearest shop at take5.com.
3 runs in the 8th for those 3 kiddos. Braves with the lead as they will turn to Robert Suarez. And it is time for our Defend the Edge feature presented by Comcast Business.
Absolutely absurd numbers that we're looking at here for Robert Suarez. He gets ready to pitch his 20th game now here in a Braves uniform. But that sparkling ERA, well, he's also got a great fastball. Sits at 99. The changeup has been plus cutter and 2-seamer. And he'll get a new catcher as Chadwick Tromp takes over behind the plate.
His season debut for Chadwick Tromp. He spent the first month and a half of the season catching in Gwinnett. And Kyle Stowers is quickly behind 0-2. Braves with 3 2-out RBI from Dubon and Olson. Robert Suarez, 35 years old. And you look at his stuff at 35, you wonder what it could have been like in the big leagues for the last several years. But when he was in his early 20s, CJ, he was working security at a grocery store and playing baseball on the weekends.
His story is an incredible one.
As Stowers lifts this one to deep left, but Dubon is there.
And I think he would tell you that's the way it was meant to go for him, where he was very much a late bloomer and still had the passion to play, and then ultimately found himself playing professionally in Asia. And it's turned into this part of his career where here he is at 35 years old with incredibly dominant stuff.
Yeah, it was a friend of his who was back in town in Venezuela, told him, hey, you need to go try and play in Mexico. Give this baseball thing one more shot. That was about 10 years ago. And he got the attention of some Padres scouts, also got the attention of some teams over in Asia, and having a chance to play in Japan, a little more lucrative instead of going through the minor league system in the States. But since he's gotten to the big leagues, he has been a stud.
What's your confidence level in saying the name of the team that he played for in Japan?
Hold, please.
I mean, I know it. I played on that team. I was just wondering how you felt about it.
You talking about Hanshin?
No, the first team he played for. The Hanshin Tigers, I'm confident you could
yeah.
say. I wasn't sure how you felt about saying
Fukuoka.
Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks.
I did it once. That's enough. 2-1 is clubbed in the air out to Michael Harris. And casually retires Connor Norby. Let's get a quick message from our friends at Chevrolet.
Get into a 2026 Chevy Trax, starting at $23,495. Proud partner of the Atlanta Braves.
Jimenez takes ball 1. Liam Hicks is on the bench for Miami. He's 2 for 2 off of Suarez. Not a big sample, but with nobody on base and 2 down, they might save him for the 9th.
Well, that's the question you start having with yourself, right? If you look at what they have on the bench and some of the left-handed pieces, obviously a tough spot when you're looking at the Atlanta Braves bullpen 8-9. The whip matchups you actually may like when it comes to Suarez and it comes to Iglesias, probably not many. But who would have the better chance? Which lefties would have the better chance? You got the great changeup, of course, of Raisel Iglesias. We showed you the split numbers here for Suarez, where he has dominated lefties so far.
Yeah, only a 200-point difference in batting average.
Point there with these two is that you don't ever look and feel like you have any kind of big advantage. I mean, for Iggy, the lefties are hitting 125. Suarez 103. What do you do? Pick your poison. Neither one a good option.
I think the game plan for opponents against the Braves this year is don't let Robert Suarez or Raisel Iglesias touch the ball with a lead or even a tie.
Be a nice place to be if you're an opponent, but we like it the other way around.
3-2. And a 2-out walk to Jimenez.
Don't see that too often. That was a little bit of an overthrow there from Robert Suarez in that full count.
And now Joe Mack. We mentioned his defensive prowess, one of the reasons, perhaps the reason he got called up. But he is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. The golden sombrero is on the table. Won't get it here, though. Instead, a ground ball out to Ozzie. And it's another scoreless inning for Robert Suarez. Braves take a 3-run lead to the 9th. The Braves are celebrating all sports this season with the crossover jersey giveaway series. And just in time for the World Cup here in Atlanta this summer, the next jersey giveaway is the Braves soccer jersey. This will be on June 17th against the Giants. And CJ, when's the last time you wore a soccer jersey?
Never, actually. 1990 never was the last time I wore one. But I'm wearing this one in particular because Jenna made the inference that it wouldn't fit me. And look how much room I have in this thing. It's super loose.
It's room.
This extra large soccer jersey.
Well, do you want a picture with your first ever soccer jersey?
Well, I can just go back and watch it on TV.
No, but I'm going to get one right up here.
Oh, thank you.
And Jenna's in the back. That's great.
Yeah. Nice job by you today. So we got a lot of monitors up here, and I noticed that one has been out pretty much, no, not pretty much, the entire game. And you were like, no, I think that monitor's been on. I said, no, I turned it off when we did the open so it wouldn't show up in the background. You've been down a monitor this whole time only because we didn't power it up.
Nothing gets past me.
Yeah, apparently.
So Lake Bacher back on the mound. And he plunks Riley. So Austin Award for the first time today. Not that Iggy needs any insurance, but Braves looking for some here.
Yeah, unfortunately did not catch any padding. It looked like it caught all forearm there.
So Michael Harris He's already driven in 2 runs today, including the game-tying homer back in the 6th.
The bar challenge is called strike.
All right, let's see here, Michael.
I think he's going to get this one.
Ball is confirmed. The pitch is strike. The Braves is out of challenge.
Those are much tougher reads, I think, of all the pitches. We talked about what we've seen at the bottom of the zone. I think we're getting a much better feel. It's the ones at the top, to me, that become more and more difficult to get a read on.
Harris jolts one to left. Hernandez is going back, but he makes the play. And now it's a long run back for Riley, who thought that ball was probably going to get down, but he's able to get back in time. Just getting a wind sprint in, CJ.
Yeah, a little bit of panic probably as well when those moments happen. But I do think when you're sitting here and you're watching an outfielder chase a ball like that and you weren't quite sure if he had a beat on it, you want to be aggressive. You have the lead. If it gets down for Austin Riley, thinking about potentially scoring.
Now Mike Yastrzemski, who came in to replace Jose Azocar after Marlins starter Braxton Garrett was taken out. On the flip side, how about the outing for Martin Perez today? Didn't start well, gave up 3 runs there in the first inning, but he's able to work through 5, keeps you in the game. And I think that at the end of the day, as a starting pitcher, especially one who's near the back end of the rotation, that's kind of your goal, right?
He did a great job, and especially, as you mentioned, giving up the 3 after your team scored 2, right? You give that lead right back. It's so frustrating when it happens. They spot you a nice lead. Martin, as we talk about, is competitive as any pitcher out there. And so while it was the 5 innings and the 4 runs, he probably doesn't love that part. He kept the game close after that, right? Just a 1 run the rest of the way. Punched out 10 for the first time in his career. Gave his team a chance to win. The bullpen came in, did a really nice job to make that happen. And some late offense now. And the Braves have a legit chance to win this game. And that's ultimately what makes Martin Perez happy, is that he did a good enough job that he put his team in a position to win.
And Yastrzemski caught looking at strike 3, 2 away here in the 9th. Kind of goes back to what Nick Green was talking about when he was talking about Martin, as you see Yaz looking for something else. But Green was talking about how, when Martin is on the mound, he wants to compete. And a lot of guys will tell you some of that means pitching to the scoreboard, finding a way to make sure your team stays in it, and he takes a lot of pride in that. So first at bat for Chadwick Trump. Took the 7:30 a.m. flight out of Atlanta this morning. Challenge coming here from Mack.
Okay, challenge ball.
And both teams
Ball is confirmed. The pitch is the ball. Marlins is out of challenges.
are out of challenges. So 2-0 on Trumpy. I asked Chadwick about, when he elected free agency from the Red Sox organization. That's where he finished last season. He signed with the Braves 3 days later. And I asked him, did you kind of have a feeling that was going to happen? He said, I felt like there was some mutual interest on both sides. Very popular teammate.
Familiar with everybody, right? Highly respected.
Hard hit grounder. That's through for a base hit. And Chadwick Trump batting 1,000 in the big leagues this year.
He turns around 97 miles an hour here. A little bit of run on that 4-seam fastball.
And Kim sprays one into right center field. That's a base hit. Riley motoring around third. He will score. And the Braves now lead 8-4. Ha-Seong Kim comes up clutch with a 2-out RBI.
That's got to feel good for Kim in that spot to drive one in. And more importantly, I think just the quality of the at-bat here. He got a little spinning slider with some depth to it that he takes the other way for a nice clean RBI base hit. It looked like Chadwick Tromp was still putting on his oven mitt as he was running between first and second.
And so now Acuna. What have you thought from watching Ronald today, his first game back?
Good. Looks really good. I think the thing that has been maybe most encouraging, certainly the double was nice to see, but some of the chase that wasn't there. Did a really nice job in drawing that walk in the 8th inning, ultimately came around to score. And I felt like earlier this year and even some of last year where we saw Ronald pressing and starting to chase some of those borderline breaking balls that were maybe just off the plate.
And with that run coming across here in the 9th, Raisel Iglesias has taken a seat, and looks like Dylan Dodd will be asked to get the final 3 outs.
I think because it's the non-save situation is part of it. Not that Walt is always necessarily making his decisions based on that, but then also since Suarez pitched and you have 5 games remaining before you get to your next off day, you may have to press a little bit on Iggy. So hopefully, if that ends up being the case, that Dylan Dodd comes in this game, you can keep it here. Iggy doesn't have to get up, and then you feel like he's extra fresh to make this push over the next 5 if you need him. Be even better. I know Walt would be very happy if Ronald could find a way to drive another run in.
Kim at first, Trump at third. And Ronald takes strike 3. But the Braves had a run of insurance. Going to try and even the series when we come back.
Braves.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by Georgia Power. Score big savings at georgiapower.com/tips. By Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. And by Yellowwood brand pressure treated pine. If it doesn't have this yellow tag, you don't want it. Braves have taken the lead late here in Miami 8-4. But Martin Perez was the one who kept the Braves in it. And CJ, not only did he give the Braves a chance to win, he also made some personal history.
Yeah, really cool to see. A career high 10 strikeouts for Martin Perez. He had never done it. At 35 years old, he gets it done here as an Atlanta Brave. And how about this? The most starts before you get your first 10 strikeout game. We can track that to 1901, and only Martin Perez is coming in second there behind Doyle Alexander. That is really, really cool to see. And I wonder at that point if he even thought, right at this point in his career, kind of who he is, how he's getting used, would there be a 10 strikeout game in his future? Well, he got it done today. So congratulations to Martin Perez.
Is it just me?
Yes.
But when I saw Perez in 285, I thought of one thing.
Yeah, traffic.
Pascual Perez.
Oh. I thought you were going to say.
He was caught circling 285, couldn't find the stadium.
Unnecessarily never-ending construction.
The first pitch strike on from Raisel Iglesias. We thought he'd sat down. He sat down because he was done warming up, CJ.
I think for Dylan Dodd, probably if there was another run or two, then he would have been in this game. And that's why I said with Walt, he doesn't always necessarily just make the decisions based on save opportunities.
A broken bat here. And the play made by Mauricio Dubon. 1 down. But no, I think there's something fitting about that. 285 starts for Martin Perez. And
yeah,
gets Pascual Perez a little bit of a shout out. And speaking of absurd numbers, CJ, why are we even playing this night?
Yeah, I mean, he's been on an incredible run, and the thing that always sticks out is this amazing efficiency and how quickly it generally happens for Raisel Iglesias. As aggressive as a reliever you'll find in the game.
Otto Lopez has been a pest today. 3 for 3 with a walk, 2 infield singles, and this surprised me. That bunt single he had in the 7th was his first of the year.
And then probably the only thing that they'll be talking about was how he didn't cover second base in that really big spot, and what a difference that made for the Atlanta Braves and what turned into that 3-run 8th inning. There was an assumption made that the throw was going to go to first base, and there was nothing about that ground ball and the way that it was fielded that should have led him to that assumption.
Well, CJ, you know what happens when you assume.
Hopefully you lose.
And people get mad at you. Braves 2 outs away from even in this series. They've doubled up Miami thus far. Grounder to short. Kim. This time he gets him.
See the difference there, though? What I know was a completely different ground ball in the first inning, but understanding when you have that level of speed, you've got to attack the ground ball. And Kim did exactly that.
We mentioned Liam Hicks being held back for a bigger at-bat perhaps for Miami. Clayton McCullough with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th. He's got no other choice. He's going to go to Hicks now, who leads Major League Baseball in RBI.
Such a great pitch. You get a guy coming off the bench. You have a reliever in Iglesias who fills up the strike zone. You know you're getting a strike. You want him thinking fastball, and you go first pitch changeup.
And Hicks rocks this one into right. So Miami not done yet.
But their first base coach and how many oven mitts he's got right now. Not only in his back pockets, but also behind the belt there in the pants.
That is the holy oven mitt trinity.
And the one guy that's out there on first base doesn't want an oven mitt.
Well, Jacob Marcy's going to pinch hit now. And Hicks will take second base uncontested. So that'll be defensive indifference. Well, I think Walt Weiss and Jeremy Heffner got to be pretty satisfied that you saw the way the Marlins constructed their lineup. Their plan was to deploy these lefties at the first opportunity, and they found a way to maneuver through the lineup, going to guys like Dylan Lee and Robert Suarez, who can be pretty tough on lefties. And
once you get to 7, 8, 9, as far as the Braves bullpen goes, you don't mind at all if you're going to see lefties.
We talk a lot about Suarez and Iglesias, but Dylan Lee, he's just as big a part as that high leverage setup end of the bullpen as anybody. Marcy and the Marlins are down 8-4 as the Braves even the series. Raisel Iglesias, another scoreless 9th. And CJ, the Braves hung in there and took control late.
Did a great job certainly today. Again, congratulations to Martin Perez. First time in his career with the 10 strikeouts. Bounced back very nicely after giving up the 3 runs in the first inning. Kept his team in it. The bullpen today absolutely dominant for the Atlanta Braves over that last 4 innings for them. The 3 strikeouts, no runs allowed, just 3 base hits. Great to have Ronald back. And the day that he had a couple of walks, a double in there. That's what he wanted to do yesterday was pitch. We're going to let him do that. He scored 3 times. And in a day in which you lost Drake Baldwin to the IL, which was obviously some bad news, you get something back in Ronald, and you get yourself a win. You even up this series going into Game 3 tomorrow.
So the Braves double up Miami 8-4. It is their MLB leading 16th comeback win. 4 2-out runs in the 8th and the 9th off the Marlins pen. How about those 2-out, 2-strike RBIs from Matt Olson and Mauricio Dubon? And Martin Perez, a career-high 10 strikeouts as he gives the Braves a chance to win it, and they pull it off late. That'll do it for us this afternoon. Hope you join us tomorrow. We'll have a 6:40 first pitch here in Miami. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock on Braves Vision. On behalf of CJ Nikowski and Nick Green, I'm Wiley Ballard saying so long, everybody.